Who was that?
Front. Yeah.
Uses a range of structures.
It's a one.
Okay. Use a range of strategies. One of the things that we've done, and to a certain extent, I suppose I was dragged a little bit kicking and screaming both by Stephen and by Jisk actually, in terms of our baseline review, which sometimes some people will know there's a bit of history about my resistance to doing a baseline review. But we did do a baseline review, and as part of that, we bought some time to really develop our thinking about the range of strategies we might use with institutional stakeholders, and through that, my colleague Becky here found a model that we then adapted, which I think we have got to give out in a bit. But basically, it comes from a levels of learner voice participation model, and really made us think about what do we mean by stakeholder engagement. And this ladder engagement goes, I'll just read you the key words from the top. Starts off at notify, and then goes inform, consult, involve, collaborate, empower. And then under each of those headings, we've got things about sort of the sorts of things, publicity that stakeholders would encounter, what information would be involved in that, what the roles were expected from stakeholders in response to what the stuff that we were trying to engage them with, what tools we would use to do it, and then what the anticipated effect was. Now the wake-up call for us is when you really thought about that, the anticipated effect was really very little. Right, even for consult actually, right until you got to what we were calling involved, and it began to really shape how much effort you have to go to before you can get something that's meaningful and goes beyond something that's tokenistic. And we decided that there was some chronology there. We might want to start off with some notifying. Who would we want to notify, in what way? And we began to build a model which we're in the process of now mapping across to a communication strategy to try and elicit the level of stakeholder involvement. But had we not taken the time that was afforded from the review process to undertake that review, see the different stakeholders, and then to build this model, I think we would have probably rushed in with some more sort of preconceptions, and we'd have ended up only going as far as consult and assuming that that would be enough. You know, we'd have put that tick in the box. Consult sounds like a good word, but actually it would have been so far short of what we need to do. And I think, is there anything you need to add to that?
Yeah, I suppose just the key thing about the model we developed is about who has the control, and a lot of the things that we do, we realise the things that we do to say to people, what do you think of what we've already decided? And so we started to think about activity and whether we remained in control of that activity, or whether we passed over some of that control, and how much of that control a particular activity passed over to that stakeholder. So something like a newsletter is quite, you know, you're expecting very passive engagement. It's all information that we produce and we get to say what's in that newsletter. Something sort of much higher up there would be something like stakeholders designing things that they use, completely owning the process, modifying it if they need to. And so what we're doing sort of through this model is thinking about where we want to be on that ladder really, and what sorts of activities we want to choose. Do we want something, where can we ask stakeholders to have a lot of control, and where do actually we need to be realistic to stakeholders and say there isn't much control you can have here, but being open about it and understanding ourselves what we're doing with particular activities.
I'll add a really quick example. I'm sorry to go on, but early on in our bid, what we said we would do is build some rooms to collect the student voice to inform curriculum design. I thought that was, you know, quite a good idea. Becky rapidly talked me out of that as we went through this. Said, well, actually, as soon as you've done that, you've defined the space in which students are going to do it. You're dictating, overlaying your preferences for how you're going to collect that voice. And actually, we need to find out, how do students want to be heard? How might we make that happen? And so we've taken a real step back from that and need to find out some more information before we go down that route. So that's how the model's helped us in a practical way.